for you to get where you need to be in an accelerated time frame. The time for messages, the time for teaching must also culminate into a daily practice. Do you understand? This transmission, if we were titling and theming it, it would be the daily death. Daily death. This will be very simple, very easy, but it will be an exercise nonetheless. One thing you will find as we continue in our Sabbath Selahs, as we continue on in our monthly experiences together, the journey is only going to get more intense and intensive or extensive also. There will be a day and a time that you will hasten and call forth long teachings. However, sometimes long teachings, sometimes evolved messages can oftentimes be a distraction from your own process of becoming. And we know that you've realized that. It's easy for us to encourage and challenge you to leave humanity, move forward into divinity. And outside of it being a cliche, outside of it being something that sounds good, there must be a initiation of the process. In essence, and to simply put it, there must be a how to the what. The journey of diminishing humanity and making even more dynamic divinity within you, around you, and as you is a conscious effort. You're doing well in the commitment portion, doing very well in the consistency portion of your development. We want to add another layer to this, which is you being more conscious, you being the creative force, you being the catalyst by which these things are unfolding, and not simply you managing, observing, supervising, managing, observing in the process in hopes of surpassing and really overcoming some feat at the end of the day by which you can deem it successful. What that causes is that causes the being, the soul, to always need a challenge, always need a crisis, always need an enemy, an adversary, or an adversarial experience, only for you to surmount it again. And it creates this ebb and flow experience. And we understand, you know, what we are saying by that. We want to remove that process. It's a dangerous process, albeit accelerated in us bringing it to you now. However, such as the times are, we need to accelerate things to get you where you need to be and where you want to be. Diminishing humanity, expanding, evolving into divinity is strategic, and it's soul searching, and it is suicidal. Not in the sense, disclaimer, not in the sense of physically removing your human from this container by which you know it. It is not drinking a potion. It is not using any tool. It is not simply closing your eyes and then there being an end to this experience you call your life. It's not that. That's a different thing. What we mean by this is the journey, which again is a catalyst, where you cease to be and you awaken, you appear as another. This has seemed mysterious to many. It seems that the process would come to you very much like a death, a physical death. What occurs in the afterlife? What happens when you give your last breath over to the earth, and does the earth return that breath back to you? Do you awaken into a different place, a different dimension, a different experience? Do you awaken only to realize that you are still in the present state, just in a different form? What does it look like? What does the afterlife look like? It looks a lot like where you are now. The difference is who is initiating the life you are now. The human life, the divine life, looks very similar. The overlap is such a thin veil. One of the biggest differences is not what you are doing, it is who is doing it as you. We have been discerning the name by which you were brought forth. Necessary. Necessary for you to show up in this time, in this container, with a degree of ownership, with a degree of you saying that you are here. You must be here for such a time, such a experience, such a dimension as is presented right now, that you are not an accident, that you are a purpose. Names do that. Names give context, it gives purpose, it gives dimension, it gives distinction. Nothing can have a name without having a usefulness, a worthiness, a utility to it. By you giving your own self a name, you adopting the name or embodying the name by which I have given you, in essence, you simply say, I have use, I have worth for this time, for this space, for this dimension. That's important. If you have purpose, then you can progress forward. If you have purpose, you have power. If you have purpose, you have permanence as long as the earth remains in the form that it does. In essence, you are needed. Your body is needed. Your host is needed. Your container survives off of usefulness. Your heart, your body, your mind, your soul, your liver, your lungs, your fingers, your toes, your brain. And at such time that it ever is programmed to not be needed, it starts a self destructive process. It shuts down, it begins to revert back into a time by which it was no longer needed. It didn't exist. You would then call it death, decay. The process is the same. You, on a soul level, identifying and initiating purpose, creates the animation anew, continues the animation onward. It's absolutely necessary, not from a soul level only, but from a self maintaining process. The daily death is important, transitioning from humanity into divinity, and it's strategic in this way. You must understand you are useful for me, for us to then enter into you to be useful. Now, we can possess, we can enter in, we can be the hands, the feet. Us entering a host that has determined to anchor itself into non activity exaggerates the non activity. It just exaggerates the depression, it exaggerates the inability, the immovability of the existence. It's the proverbial philosophy of you must give God something to work with. You must give your life. You must present a living sacrifice, not a dead one. You give us something living, and we come in to expose what is presented and continue, progress, and propel that forward in a much more expedient and fulfilled way. If we enter a host of death, then we expand death. If we enter a host of discouragement, we expand that. We help you realize all the ways that your life is so discouraging. That's what you have invited us into. Everything we touch, we embody, we possess, we take ownership of, we supervise within, we connect with, knows itself. It reveals itself all the more. There's nowhere that we are, listen to this, there's nowhere that we are not known. Wherever we are known. And every element that knows us brings their best towards us. Death knows us, death brings its best self towards us as an offering. Life does the same. Encouragement, depression, despair, hope does the exact same thing. It brings itself. You would say, in your human sense, it seems like that when God came into my life, things got worse. Well, that's because when you came to us, you invited us into you, you created the foundation that was despair. So that it highlighted all the things, or it activated, brought to life all the things in your life, in essence, began to worship at the throne of our entering. That's all that's happening. It's temporary, exhilarating sometimes, but temporary in the process. It's actually an act of worship when you see the things in your life start to expand, whether you like them or not. It's the effect of the eternal entering into your life. The death that occurs in the human, the arising of divinity within you must happen on a moment by moment and a daily basis and in every instant until such a time that you no longer realize who you were, what you were prior to us entering your space. So how do you do that? It's a very simple process to do. It is one of a different type of commitment. The way that you have brought us into your life has been similar to this before. You are here, you are living life, you ask us for something, you ask God, come in and help. You ask for a partnership. Not wrong, not bad, but partnership. Becoming is possession, not participation. Becoming is not participatory, it's not partnership, it's possession. This is one of the deeper mysteries of attraction. It is the beginning stage of why people keep things and why some people don't keep things. You can attract it and not assimilate it into yourself. You can attract wealth and not keep it because it's not assimilated. So laws like attraction, calling forth abundance, anything else in your life that you desire, is a one-part conversation. It is the attraction of that thing, and it's also the assimilation by which you become the thing that you have asked for. You ask to partner, you ask to participate in something. Next level is the possession of it, by which you become it so you no longer need it. Once you have it, you no longer need it. Let us put it in a different way. You call God if you don't have God. You call me if you don't have me. Think of it in the simplest form. If you call your friend is not at the location by which you are, physically, virtually, or otherwise. In another room, possibly in the same house, in the same city, not at the same address, in the same country, not in the same state. So it is possible to have a connection with someone and not be fully as that someone. There's a difference. The connection and the conjoining where the two become one. We are trying to reshift your thinking to it not simply being a partnership and not simply it being a connection and a communication, but a conjoining by which you and I are a different thing. So the daily death becomes a very simple process. You have to start removing the idea of calling me into a situation, calling me into a provision, a solution, a problem, a challenge. Because here's why. The calling becomes a temporary experience. God, please help when the help is provided, when the solution is granted. Then, by nature, although you don't think it, although you never say it, the process is, okay, God, we are done with you now. Thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it. Come back when we need you again, which expands on the anxiety of, did God leave me? Has God forsaken me? Is God here? That must be removed, stepping into this next transition. The way you remove that is the daily death. And how that looks is very simple, but it is strategic. It is, you start by removing the idea that I need to communicate with God, I need to connect with God, and this will exaggerate all levels of abandonment within you, and it should, and it will. And it will be a challenge because you and I, in order to do what I need to do in you, with you, and for you, as you as the host, you are not necessary in that process as a soul expression. So all the philosophical conversations that have told you, you are enough, this will challenge that thinking. God loves me for who I am and what I am. It will challenge that thinking. You just said to bring myself as a living sacrifice. It will challenge all of that thinking because you want to feel worthy, useful, connected, communicated. The challenge to that thinking is equivalent one. by which the thought process to the human says, well, God and I can do this together. So is God lowering ourselves to you so we can partner and do this together? Or are you elevating yourself to us with us so we can do it together? If we're being honest, if we're not even being honest, if we're going by history, if we're going by the laws, that doesn't occur. Bitter and sweet waters and all that jazz. Some of you will get that. The contamination that happens with the connection has to be distilled.
In the next lesson, God teaches you how to clear your connection contamination.